And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good morning, Futures family. Thanks for joining old Uncle Hogue here for the market prep. Thursday, February the 2nd, Groundhog Day. Apparently, we are going to see 6 more weeks of winter. That groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, apparently saw his shadow. It's also my grandma's 124th birthday today. Happy birthday, Heavenly Grandma Kay. As always, our focus here, is on context, good risk management, patience, and remaining centered in our trading this morning. We've got some economic numbers already due out. The Bank of England raised rates by 50 basis points earlier this morning. Just finished up with the ECB rate increase up another 50 basis points at 7:15 this morning. 7:30, the jobless claims numbers came out, both initial and continuing, lower than expected. Initial jobless claims were expected to be about 200,000 last week. It came out 183, so a little lower numbers. I see we've got Spencer speculating that we're all clear for the rally now. I've worn my rally sweater, so we'll see how that works out through the day today. Also at 7:30, we had productivity and cost numbers. Productivity is up, costs down. Factory orders is due out at 9 o'clock, as well as 9:30, the natural gas numbers due out. So we've got the stocks, finally the Dow following the S&P and the NASDAQ higher. The Dow is higher for the first time that I've seen this morning, just slightly. But stocks are mostly higher after the FOMC signals slowing of rate hikes and a potential end to policy tightening. The exception, of course, this morning until now was the blue chips, the Dow, and right now they're just about dead steady. I see the futures up 1 tick. Bank of England again raised its key rate to 4%. That's a 50 basis point rate hike. ECB did the same thing. Their rate is currently 3%. Big Pharma tops earnings this morning, and of course we're all well aware we've got some big tech numbers. Big tech companies releasing after the close. Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, Google. So those are all due out after the close. It's going to be an interesting trading day. We've got a lot of late spikes. We've got a lot of basically big changes in the landscape in a lot of these markets. Landscape meaning context. Crude prices reached 3-week lows after another surprise increase in crude stocks announced by the EIA yesterday. As far as the VIX is concerned, all the way down to 17.5. Fear factor very low in equities. My question is, when does greed take over? Market, as my dear old dad always used to say, the market always looks the best at the top and the worst at the bottom. The dollar index just about flat at 101.23, continuing to slide lower, and the yield on the 10-year down to 3.36% off its lows from overnight, but still relatively weak. As always, make sure you hit that lucky like button, share, comment, question, feedback, heckling, lover, always welcome. It is you can always get notifications when we do go live on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You will get those notifications. And it is Make Hogue Money right after the prep this morning. The morning session always seems to be better. And I see we've got Randolph back in the room here this morning, so maybe Randolph will be joining us for Make Hogue Money. Here is the link to register. It's in the chat room here, so you can get registered and join us for Make Hogue Money. I'm going to be looking for your ideas to take trades to make me money. All right. Good morning, everyone. We've got the Rooster crowing early this morning. First in the room, Rooster wins the prize. Shaw, good morning. Timothy, JM. My brother Rick, also known as Randolph, good morning. I love you. Shane, good morning. Haggle Matters, good morning. Michael, George. I already told Lacey you were saying good morning to the center of the universe. She's laying in the sun in the kitchen by the sliding glass doors. Caprice, good morning. Brody, Dan Trader, good to see you this morning. Hope things continue to go well. Octoraps, let's see how much pleasure or pain we can endure today, right? Dr. Serenity Trader, good morning. Naveen, Spencer, good jobless numbers, good. We're all clear for the rally. Jason, Terrence, Rusty Golfer, my spirit animal. Charles March, Jerry is awake. JT, Sarah Hall, prayers and love to you. Tanya is here, present. Good morning, Tanya. Andy J. Bramman. Kevin Laffey, good morning, sir. Anthony Bell. Vince, my guy. Marcelo, Rob T, Ray Trading Research. Vince, Mike, Robert, good morning. Serenity Trader, the sun is definitely shining on the markets. Woohoo, yeah, I think, again, there is the potential for major market state changes here this week. Zareen, Nisa, Great Dane, good morning from across the Atlantic Pond. Good morning to you, Great Dane. Dan Trader, happy birthday, Grandma Hogue. Yeah, there you go. Punxsutawney Phil has only been right about 40% of the time the past 10 years. I've got that app on my phone, that NOAA app. Checking the news or checking the weather. Nastic, good morning. Gold lower, 6 silver up. I'm seeing gold up this morning, about 1%. Lucky Leprechaun, Ireland, Montana morning. Good morning to you. Well, it's got to be chilly up there in Montana. Pretty sure that's where God lives. Dr. VJ, good morning. Bulls still eating bears. Yep. Yeah, lots of shorts being eaten. The market has been hungry for those bears this morning and this week. Dan, everything's going good. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know. We are continuing to stay in our prayers with your brother. Paris, good morning. Good morning, Tanya. Good morning, Varga, Dusty, and Will. Good to see everyone this morning. So we're going to get into the charts pretty quickly here so we can get moved on to Make Hogue Money. I hope that you enjoy Make Hogue Money. Sometimes the evening sessions are a little boring or a little bit crazy. But I think the morning sessions are really good. And, we had the session with Matt Hoyt on Tuesday. Hopefully you found some interesting information there. There's a lot to unpack, a lot to learn as far as using those pitchforks for opportunities. I'm going to learn it over time. I'm not going to jump in and start taking trades on it right away. There's, again, much to learn about it. Spot gold down $5. Okay. Travis, good morning. So, again, hopefully you enjoy Make Hogue Money. I enjoy the ideas, the thoughts, the opportunities that you guys are providing. I mean, we're taking them in a live account. Granted, it's micros, but still, it's real money. So, Jay Bram and my 4-year-old daughter was praying for Dan Trader's family last night. That's very nice, Jay. Tell your daughter we love her, and that's beautiful. I love that. All right, let's jump into the charts here. The recording for the Pitchfork session is available on YouTube. It is Tuesday morning's Make Hogue Money. So it's 2 back from the front, from the most recent Make Hogue Money. It'll be 3rd back after today's, but it is available. Okay, all right. So We're going to jump into the charts here with the daily in the S&Ps. Things moving to the upside already here. Let's take a quick look. All right, so focusing on context. Well, look at the swing high we've got that we are rapidly approaching. That's the December CPI, 4180. We are looking like we are going to be opening above the late spike that occurred on yesterday. We added some volume on this push to the upside. We added open interest of 5,100 contracts, not huge, but still indicating that there's money coming into the long side in this, and that's what we are looking for continuation or a continued successful upside auction process. So the volume and open interest is healthy for that. Weekly kickoff of 4150 was in play already, looking like we are going to be leaving the late spike and weekly kickoff high below where we are. Maybe some continuation to the upside today. The thing about this late spike is, where does it start? Okay, when Powell started speaking, the market was largely in balance. When Powell started speaking, it fell out of balance, and I'm using 4090 as where the balance ended and imbalance began. That's going to be the base of the late spike for me today. Settlement was all the way up here at 4132, short of weekly kickoff high, but look where we are now. We're starting to accumulate some overnight longs prior to the open. Looks like we're going to be opening with a gap, and a gap above a late spike, which marks the highest probability of acceptance of higher pricing. 4180 seems almost a foregone conclusion, that swing high from December CPI. Of course, we can never make those assumptions. We can only hypothesize as to where price may go. Where are we? So, well, overnight inventory when I sat down was flat. It's getting a little bit long. Perhaps we're already seeing some buyers coming into this market, maybe even in longer time frame. We don't know. It's going to be an interesting morning in Make Hogue Money. We're opening out of balance after finishing the day out of balance. Opening range may be something we want to think about. But again, that late spike, kind of balancing and teetering on weekly kickoff high, leaving that behind now. Let's take a look at the TPO chart here, and this is the overnight TPO. This is yesterday, a normal variation trading day with a late spike, a very, very big late spike. There's an area of potential balance forming here, but again, I don't think we had enough time to really show acceptance through time, so I'm using the base of the late spike when we broke out after Powell started speaking. So this whole area could mark acceptance of higher pricing. Right now, opening above this late spike certainly is the highest probability of acceptance of higher pricing. It doesn't mean that the market is just going to open and go higher. It could pull back. It could pull back all the way to the base of the late spike before continuing to move higher. So it's going to be an interesting trading day. Initial balance, low or high? No. Yesterday was a little goofy as far as volatility is concerned. So the nuances. Well, volume was good on the way up. Open interest was good on the way up. Opening above above the late spike is the highest probability of acceptance of higher pricing. So the nuances are saying that this auction is healthy and that it is accepting higher pricing. I'm going to probably be looking for opportunities to buy weakness if I even get weakness today in order to buy. Remember, I am wearing the rally sweater. Crude oil, my goodness. A measured move in crude oil could take us down to here. 73.80 approximately. Volume and open interest, we added 3,000 estimated open interest on this push and acceptance back below weekly kickoff low. We've got decent volume in that direction, so we've got an auction process that is showing us that it is relatively healthy. I'm going to give it a B to the downside here. This swing low, well, this swing high to this swing low, measured from this high, takes us down to here. This is one of the ways that I'll use measured moves. We had Matt Hoyt talking about measured moves quite a bit yesterday or Tuesday with the pitchfork presentation. A lot of it's about measured moves. So we've got some downside information with which to look for. We've got this yearly low here, 72.74. That's beyond where our measured move would be. Take a look at the 30 though. Okay, we've got a naked point of control down here at 75.70. Well, we've already kind of checked it. We're just opening and we're already checking that visual level. There's also another visual level of a naked point of control all the way down here at 73.30. So these, if the market continues to move lower, would be visual levels. And if traders are looking at visual levels, they have a tendency to bring price there. We talk a lot about how naked points of control bring comfort to traders. They're areas where a lot of two-sided trade occurred, and the market is seeking two-sided trade at all times. And if that means it's going to the downside and checking these levels would be decent targets and sometimes even decent entries for trade opportunities. Here's the TPO chart. So we have a double distribution trend day to the downside yesterday. We've opened outside of any possible probability of falling into repair. We've gapped lower. I don't know if we've necessarily closed that gap here just yet. But the nuances are the market is accepting at lower pricing, even though we balanced a little bit here yesterday, rejecting the excess that we put in above this area yesterday. The overnight took us to kind of clean up this little anomaly or double TPOs up here. The market, if we can't get into range from yesterday, if we can't close the gap relatively early, we look for opportunities in the direction of the gap, which would have us looking lower. We do not have a gap close. Looks like we've missed it by 1 or 2 ticks here. And then, of course, because we've opened out of range, if we do fall into balance or range or value from yesterday, then we could certainly bring price back to the upside. But I think overall the auction process to the downside is doing a pretty good job. I'm going with a B on the auction process to the downside here. Okay, there's always the possibility, looking at where we've come from this week, that there's a possible, a profit-taking event. I would look for more for that on Friday, but in the equities too. I mean, we've come a long way so far this year, or to this week, I should say. When are we going to see some profit taking? Maybe tomorrow. Here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ already well above the December CPI, stabbed to the upside, closing above weekly kickoff high. Technically, this market is stronger than the S&Ps, but there's a couple of things that concern me. Volume was good on the way up yesterday, but we only added about 400 in open interest. Now, that's the preliminary number. I would be looking for a bigger number of an increase in open interest after a day like yesterday and a breakout and acceptance above weekly kickoff high. We need buyers. We need business to continue this move to the upside, and it looks like we're still getting it, but I'm just kind of wondering where the positioning of a lot of these traders are. The tech sector is so strong right now. Again, remember, we have some big tech earnings after the close today. Here's the 30-minute chart. Here's our late spike. 12,205 is the base of the late spike, right about here. The market continuing to try and push higher. Settlement here, 12,414 and a quarter. We've got the overnight inventory now has been presenting as long and getting longer. We've got a gap above a late spike. That's the highest probability of acceptance of higher pricing. If it fails, it can bring a pretty deep pullback. And again, all the way back down to the base of the late spike would still be positive pricing to me. So I'm looking for opportunities to buy weakness if we're going to get it. It's going to be a fun make hog money today. Here's the TPO. Initial balance neither the high or the low from yesterday. You can see that the rotations that happened at 1 o'clock, and then as soon as Powell started speaking, this market just found legs to the upside. Closed relatively well. Again, a late spike, and a gap above a late spike. So nuances again. Good volume on the way up. Open interest not so much. But opening above a late spike is the highest probability of acceptance of higher pricing. Those of us that, aren't careful with that, if we do get a severe pullback off that high, off these highs, can certainly do some damage to themselves. All right, now gold starting to show a little bit of weakness here. We've got an additional 6,300 in open interest on high volume yesterday. So the auction to the upside structure is still good. We had a healthy auction to the upside yesterday. I'm looking at this as a possible pullback, and of course we have to keep an eye on the U.S. dollar. Okay, so the balance extreme, last week's high, is certainly in play and seems to be somewhat pivotal this morning. Take a look. Here's our spike to the upside. It was a late spike. Okay, the base of it is the high of the regular trading hour session, 1948.40. But we've opened now basically in that late spike, that late spike. So that's still acceptance of higher pricing. Overnight, we held above last week's high relatively well. We've fallen back, but this number here, 1958, is a level that I left on here from a long time ago. I had a feeling that it was going to come to some sort of use at some point, and so far it has put a bottom in our downside move here. This, could be an interesting opportunity for us if we get the price back down to that level. I've obviously missed it now, but as far as the TPO chart is concerned, the upper extreme of the initial balance was the high of the regular trading hour session. We know that is now moot. Okay, we've got last week's high right up here somewhere. We've got the upper extreme of regular trading hour sessions here. We're looking to see if we can accept back inside balance or if we're going to reject balance and continue to move higher. That 1958 number, long time ago. Look at how it capped things off here. Look at how it's our current low now. That's a kind of an interesting spot for me. Euro. Okay, pulling back off the highs already this morning, checking back to weekly kickoff low, which is our weekly kickoff high, I should say, 109.60. 109.55 half is our current low. Upside structure remains. Yesterday, we added 5,700 in estimated open interest on high volume. The upside auction still is presenting as healthy. Here's the 30-minute. This gap up here was left from, I don't even remember when. Got a naked point of control up here from I don't even remember when as well. So the market has now taken price back to the late spike. Okay, 109.55 is the base of the late spike. It's relatively close to weekly kickoff high here. This is an interesting situation. This base of this late spike, because we opened in the late spike, will be supportive, should be supportive. If we find a degree of acceptance back inside the value area from yesterday, we'll look for a value area potential move to the downside. But this is very interesting in the euro right now. Love the fact that it came back down, tested to weekly kickoff high / our base of the late spike. We get something going on here in the dollar kind of a little dive to the upside here, up 22 ticks. We got to keep an eye on that. Here's the 10-year. Okay, breaking out above weekly kickoff high. I saw a question in here. What does it mean when the bond market is following the equity market north? Back in the day, when the bonds upticked, S&Ps downticked. When the bonds downticked, S&Ps upticked. That changed when the yield curve became inverted, which is how the situation is now. So with the yield curve inverted, bonds and stocks tend to go the same direction. Now, we were looking at the 30-year back then. This is the 10-year. But the 10-year yield continues to get smushed. Therefore, we see bond prices moving higher. Added 32,000 in open interest up to a test of weekly kickoff high. Volume remains relatively strong, although not blistering. Are we going to accept or reject above weekly kickoff high? Really becomes the question for me today. We have the late spike, the base of the late spike, all the way down here, 115 even. The question, I think, becomes again, how do longer time frame traders treat this area here? Last week's high, weekly kickoff high, we're above it now. We've got some longs in this market, obviously. I want to see if we get a pullback to this area and see if we can find some support down there. Here's the TPO chart. So there's our late spike, 115, the base. We've opened above. If we can't close this gap, we're looking for opportunities for longs. If we do close this gap, we may see a deeper pullback towards towards the spike base. But right now, above this area, in this area, I'm looking for opportunities to buy weakness. You just see the yields continue to fall, if that's the case. Here's nat gas. Little birdie told me the price is going down to around $2. And we saw yesterday an increase in open interest of 26,000 contracts. Now, there's a little bit of expiration involved in that, a little bit left of rollover, which is now over. But volume was good, an increase in open interest. I mean, this is an A- as far as the auction process goes. We did end up with a late spike to the downside yesterday. Settlement closed at the base of that late spike, but we're now showing rejection. In the open, we rejected the late spike. We're in range, we're in value. I'm going to try and stay patient. So far, what we're seeing as far as nuances are concerned compared to yesterday's late spike is rejection of lower pricing. We did not have a strong low yesterday on the TPO chart. We did not have a strong low in the overnight. So we're not seeing a lot of excess at the low, just a warning shot here that we're now rejecting lower pricing. The market has gotten into an area where potential for repair does remain. It's a double distribution trend day. When we get into the middle of a double distribution trend day, the tendency is trade to a point of control down here, trade to a point of control up here, just repair the profile from yesterday. So, the rejection of the late spike is something we didn't see in any of these other markets. Everything seems to be accepting above the late spikes. We had the late spike down in the natural gas, and it seems to be rejecting that, at least for now. We got a ways to go before I think we're going to break any major kind of structure. All right. So we are going to head right into make home money after this. So let's take our deep breath. Be ready for the trading day today. It's going to be interesting. A lot of changes in context and landscape in these markets. Looking forward to seeing you all for make home money. Get out there and profit today. Stay humble, grateful, creative, and centered in your trading today. Today's Thursday, so after make home money, I'll only see you tomorrow morning. I know I'm going to miss you. Trade well. If I don't see you for make home money, have a great session. You see you back here tomorrow morning, 7:45. But I'm looking forward to seeing you again here in just a few minutes. I'm going to get this set up and get things running, and I'll see you in make home money. Again, if not, have a great trading day. Blessings to you all. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Say a prayer for peace. And we'll see you shortly.